Hello, my name is AJ Goldsby. I'm a life master from Pensacola, Florida, and I wanted to bring you today a video. This is mainly going to be a video for my chess class. I teach chess at a small private school here in Pensacola, and this video is mainly for my chess class. However, I thought I'd go ahead and just briefly run through this game and post it on YouTube, and it also could be for my chess fans in general. I've had quite a number of requests. In fact, I've had about, I don't know, quite a few emails. I don't know exactly how many, but can't really think right now. But it was more than one. I think it was, I don't know, about 6 or 7, I guess. But anyway, I've had a number of requests for people to, for me to post my games and do YouTube videos on my games from the Louisiana State Championship. You see, over the 2014 Labor Day weekend, I drove to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, with my good friend John Lanning, and we played in the Louisiana State Championship there in Baton Rouge, and I won clear first. So I've had a number of requests to do a video on my game. This will be on my 6th round game with Goldsby-Webster. He's a young man, very talented. I feel pretty sure he's going to be a master eventually, and he's a very talented young man. And anyway, I'm fortunate to beat him now. I feel probably won't be too long, in a few years, I won't be able to lay a glove on him. But anyway, for right now, he's still learning, still kind of a few things to learn, but he gets better seemingly every time I play him. And he has beaten me, I believe, once before. So anyway, this is I'm white, AJ Goldsby is white, and Goldsby-Webster is black. And this is the 6th round game, board 1 from the Louisiana State Championship. Starts off as an English. First move is C4. I'm not going to do an in-depth analysis of this game. I've already analyzed this game on a blog on chess.com. So I'll post a link in the little window just below where it says show more. If you just click on that, and I'll post a link right there. And if you want to see the detailed analysis, you can look at that. Starts off as an English. My opponent plays e5, knight c3, bishop b4. This is a rather unusual move. I decided the normal move here to play against bishop b4 is knight d5. I decided, in other words, normally white plays knight d5 here. This knight goes to d5. But I decided here to play something a little bit different. I decided to put my queen on b3, again, to get out of normal book. I wanted to get away from any preparation. He plays bishop a5. I'm supposed to play knight f3, knight c6, e3, knight f6. And I have done a very thorough analysis of this game with several chess engines, so I can tell you pretty much what the good moves and bad moves were. Here I play a3. That's a little unusual. Probably just d3 and bishop d2, and that would be a good move, or just bishop e2 would be fine as well. But I played a3. One of the ideas of a3 is, I don't know if you can follow these moves, but this is just briefly the idea, is e4, knight g4, and if he plays queen e7, I play queen c2, and the idea is ganging up on this pawn, and if he's not paying attention, I play b4 and then c5, trapping this bishop on a5. It's kind of a fairly simple trap, fairly transparent trap. You never know, though, what your opponent might fall into a game, and I was looking for a fight. So e4, knight g5, bishop takes c3. That was a good move. Queen takes c3, d5. Now, d5 was probably a little bit too early. According to all the engines I use, Fritz and Houdini and several others, if black just castles and then plays d5, probably gets a very large advantage. d5 was probably one move too early. Pawn takes pawn, queen takes pawn. Now the queen is attacking the knight on g5 laterally, so white has to protect the knight. h4, black castles. And now I play b4, h6, knight h3. He plays bishop takes h3. That was actually a pretty good move. The idea is fast development for black. Rook takes h3, rac8. I play bishop e2. Now here black maybe should have considered just rook rf d8. He didn't do that. He went rf e8. And now I triple castled. That was not the best move. According to Fritz, either rook c1 or queen c5 was really the best move for white. I castled, and that turns out not to be that great here. Knight e4, d3. That was the wrong move. I probably should have just, rather than d3, I probably should have played just simply bishop e2. But anyway, d3. He played c5, b5. And now Dex messes up. He plays knight takes d3 check. If he'd have simply played one of his rooks to d8, this rook here is pinned, it's unprotected. That might have just been flat out winning for black. Unfortunately for Dex, he missed that. Knight takes d3, bishop takes d3. E takes d3, I play rook g3. And now there's the threat of just queen takes knight. the pawn can't take back, and then there's the threat of mate in 1. So black would be losing a piece. So he doesn't have time to play a move like c4 guarding his pawn, which he'd normally like to do, or rook d8 guarding this pawn on d3 because the threat of queen takes knight. Again, this pawn on g7 can't take because that rook pins the piece to the king. And I want to remind my students in the class that I have a few beginners that if a rook is pinning a piece on the pawn, the king you're never allowed to expose your own king to check. So this is considered an absolute pin. So if I play queen takes knight by the rules of chess, black is not allowed to recapture. That's just for my students in the class. Black plays rook e6, that's guarding the rook. Okay. Now I play rook takes d3, and now black plays queen f5, and I played queen c2. That was a very good move. And now we're going to get to the critical position. This is black plays 21 king h7, and that literally was maybe the losing move there. This is what I wanted to point out to my chess class. This is the critical position. I tried to get here pretty much as quickly as possible. Again, if you want to see detailed analysis of this game, please consult my blog on chessgames.com. I'm not chess games, rather, but www.chess.com. But anyway, black just played king h7, and this is a very bad situation for black. My queen, my rook, his queen, and his king are all on the same diagonal, the b1 h7 diagonal. And now it's time for white to unleash a combination and try to take advantage of all that. Well, it's easy to say, one thing, and it's actually more difficult to do it. In fact, I'll admit, at the tournament, I was quite stumped. I played the next move pretty quickly because it's an easy move to play, and black's queen is hit, and there's not too many good responses. I went rook f3, and he plays rook g6. That was all forced. Now here, if I wanted to draw, I could just play my rook back and forth. And h5 doesn't quite do the job because of knight takes pawn. But as I was thinking last move, if I could just come up with a way to get black's knight off the board, then I could probably just play rook, kick the queen off the diagonal. You'll see this in a minute. Kick the queen off with pawns, and then a discover check here will rook to d8 check will a discover check on the black king, and you'll see this in a second. Will win a rook. So anyway, rook takes f6. That's a very good move. The computer finds something slightly different. I won't even go into that here because this is mainly for my class at school here, so I don't want to get into really complicated lines. Again, if you want to see the analysis, consult my blog on www.chess.com. Rook takes f6. He plays g takes f6. I thought he had to take with the rook, but he took with the pawn. h5. That's again trying to kick the queen off the diagonal. Queen f5. g4. Queen e4. f3. Queen takes f3. All that was forced. Now right now the queen has to move off the diagonal. If you notice now, all the pawns here are hitting the light squares, and now white's forced to black rather is forced to either give up his queen or to take the pawn. He's pretty much got to take that pawn because he's got to get off the diagonal. So queen takes pawn, and now we see the discover check I was talking about earlier. Rook d8 discover check. The black king is in check from the white queen on c2s. The black king's in check by the rules of chess. He's got to get out of check. So he plays rook e4. That was a slightly bad move. In my opinion, it was better just to play king g7 right away, and the engines back me up on this. And now after rook e4, just rook takes. And now he's got a lot of checks. One kid, I overheard some kids talking in the hall, and one kid apparently thought that Dex had an easy draw by perpetual, but that's not the case at all. Check, king f2, check, king c3, check, queen d3. Queen e1 check, king b3. Now here's a very important point. If my rook wasn't on c8, if my rook was not there, black would have a win with c4 check, forking the queen and king. But now c4 check is no big deal because of the white rook just plays rook takes pawn. So now he gets king g7. That gets the king out of the pin. This rook couldn't move because it was pinned to the king. Now the king's moved over and this rook is out of the pin, and black actually has a threat here. He's threatening rook e3. So I go queen d8 there. All right, and now I'm threatening mates like queen g8 check or queen h8 check, and so I'm threatening checkmate on the move, and also queen takes pawn check, and then queen down here mate. So I'm threatening all kind of mates here on the move. So now basically black is forced to try to go for a perpetual check. If he runs out of check, the game is over. Rook b4 check, a takes b4, queen takes pawn check, king c2. Queen a4 check, king c1, queen c4 check, king d2, queen f4 check, king d3. It doesn't look like white's making any progress, but I'm slowly marching my king up the board, and you'll see what I'm going to try to do here in just a second. Queen f3 check, king c4, queen e4 check, king takes pawn, b6 check, king d6, queen d3 check, king c7, queen c4 check, king b7. That was the square that I was trying to get to. The whole point is that black could never check me and take my bishop on b2, because I would simply answer like queen g8 check. So I was never worried about black capturing my hanger, and now he has one more check. He plays queen e4 check, and I play rook c6. And at this point, black resigns. The engines, chess engines, all show it to be an easy win for white. And of course, white's threatening moves like queen takes pawn check or bishop takes pawn check with a quick mate. And black is pretty much toast. I mean, it's mate in just a few handful of moves. I think black can give away his queen with check, but that's still not going to change anything after queen takes, rook check, pawn takes. And you know, it's black is still going to be mated very rapidly over here with bishop takes pawn check. So that's pretty much it. That pretty much does it for the game. And here my opponent resigned. And that pretty much concludes my videos. Thank you for watching my videos, chess class. I hope you paid attention. You may want to watch this video a couple of times. Make sure you understand the game in total. And I hope you enjoy the video and have a nice day.